Well, thank you all, everyone, for joining this call. Thank you, Huang, Tan, Steve, and Ernie for joining us as well. Really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to inform us shareholders on what's been going on with VMNT and VinHMS, as well as what will be going on in the future. This transparency is something that I think is very rare among publicly traded companies, and something that I know I can speak for everyone when I say we all really appreciate it. And we're really just looking forward to hearing what you all have to say to answer our questions, and want to just learn more about the company. So without further ado, you guys take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Sal. Okay, so good evening, everyone. First of all, a very warm welcome from all of us at VMNT. It is truly a pleasure and an honor again to connect with all of you. I sincerely hope that everyone is doing well. Make no mistake, your support has been very instrumental in our journey. To say we appreciate you is an understatement. We are truly excited to have the opportunity to share some updates and developments about our company with you today. And before we get started, I would like to thank Jimmy and Sal for organizing this call. And just a quick reminder, as we go through the questions, we'll try to give you as much information as possible. However, please keep in mind that we're not going to be able to address all the questions directly, and our responses will need to be confined to the company's current filings, especially the ones about our financials that have not been disclosed with the SEC. Regardless, by the end of this call, we hope that you have a good understanding about the current state of VMNT. And also, Eric has a hard stop at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So with that said, we're ready to start with the questions.
Okay, great. So question number one, these are really just generally about VinHMS, but when and how did Tan and Eric first connect? How long were the discussions that led to the acquisition last? What attracted VinHMS to VMNT, and vice versa?
Thank you for the first question. I'll go first, and I'll let Eric finish. We met a little over a year ago through a mutual friend. It was during one of my business trips to Vietnam, and actually it wasn't for anything related to VMNT, really. It was just something I normally do whenever I'm there, to try to meet with executives from the tech space in Vietnam. So our instant connection was over many things. His knowledge, his background, his ideas, you name it. But most of all, it was over his unique company. After a couple of hours, it was very apparent to me that his main product was a game changer. But somehow, even with VinPro, a very well-known member of Vin Group as his customer, little was known about his company outside of Vietnam and Southeast Asia. So to be honest, I was a bit perplexed, and I felt his work was underappreciated. So our conversation started to go in the direction of how to bring global recognition to VinHMS, especially from U.S. investors. Now, I should tell you, even before meeting Eric, I had already been feeling for a long time that a lot of the who's who among business leaders from Vietnam were underrepresented in the U.S. investment community. And Eric is part of that class, right? So he wanted to go beyond Vietnam. So it was a very engaging discussion for me. So after the first meeting, we continued to exchange ideas of a potential partnership for several months. After 9 months, we both concluded that a combination of our two businesses would make a lot of sense. From that point on, our talks evolved around compliance, legal requirements. With Eric being part of Vin Group and with us being SEC reporting, nothing was simple and immaterial, right? It took another 3 months for us to get all the signing docs ready due to certain due diligence and legal procedures from Vin Group, the SEC, Singapore, Vietnam, and the state of Nevada. But now that it's done, I have many people to thank, including all the attorneys involved and some key members from Vingroup. Most importantly, though, in the short time that we worked together, I have discovered a lot to like about Eric. Frankly, he's a no-nonsense executive, very knowledgeable, very hands-on, but also very open-minded. And most of all, we both share the same vision of where we want to take VMNT. So needless to say, I'm very excited that Eric's here. But at this point, I'm going to give the floor to Eric now.
Thanks, Tan. Thank you, James and Sal. Very appreciated you guys, joining here with us. And as Tan, I think Tan already said, we really appreciate it, and we really want to show to everybody, that we are trying to do a very transparent company. Now, going back to the question, yes. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I spent 10 years in Houston, Texas, and then this company is my third company. And so I'm always about growing this company to become a regional company, never about just doing software for Vietnam or just another country. So that's why after like 4 or 5 years, I talked to so many VC, PE investor, and like Tan said, our meeting with him was just another meeting in a very busy week for me, but we click instantly. It's not just because he came back from the US. I spent years in the US, but it's just like, the personality. He's also an entrepreneur. He's grinding, he's working, and I respect that. And also, we talk, and then at that point, there was no talk about even, working together. It was just a networking coffee. But again, right after weeks and months, we just ping WhatsApp, with each other. We text each other when we have an idea, and it somehow turned into a really helpful conversation. And then I think, it got to a point where we realized that we would be very, very, successful, or at least like be more successful if we can work together. So that's when we start thinking about, merging and, joining force. And so I guess, that's how it started.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for that insight. Question number 2 does ask a little bit about financials, just basically asking what the general overview of the financials of VinHMS look like. Is that something that you guys are comfortable answering, or waiting for a filing to come out?
Hey, James, I can take that. Right now, we have to do a couple of filings. And so once those come out, we can talk a little bit more about that. Our last 2-year financials will be filed with the SEC soon. And once that's done, we can, answer a lot of the financial related questions. What we can say, though, is that we do, anticipate double-digit growth for the upcoming 24-25 years, but we can speak more to that once our filings are in.
Okay, great. Thank you, Steve. Eric, would it be possible for you to just answer what you personally would value VinHMS at currently, or again, should that be waited for a filing to come out?
James, that will need to wait for the filing to come out. We'll have a valuation, in the filing, and then we can talk to that, going forward.
Okay, great.
Yep.
So Eric, how has it been operating as a subsidiary of Vingroup? How has that helped your company grow and achieve its goals?
Yeah, so just some quick context for everybody to understand more about Vingroup, because many of you may probably never heard about them. But Vingroup is one of the biggest conglomerates in Vietnam, with business spanning multiple industry, construction, home development, hospitality, retail mall, auto, school, even hospital. And many of their subsidiaries are the largest in the sector in Vietnam. Now, about more than 5 years ago, they start to move their focus to technology industrial. So that's when they start the whole, technology initiative. And that's when meeting together with, many other basically tech entrepreneur joined them to start it. And now looking back, I think Vingroup is one of the best incubator, if I could say, because this is where you not only just get the capital, but you also get to know your potential customer. And in our case, right, you get the inputs during the product development. Our tasks were building a core ERP for hotel. And of course, right, we came in as technologists, but also along the way, we get to talk to so many hoteliers that can help us improve our solution. Now, another thing that I want to point out is subsidiary of Vingroup operate independently, okay? And then so when we work with company like VinPern, we got the intro, we came in, but then we always have to prove to our customer, even our internal customer, that we are better than incumbent, and which is also very competitive, okay? And so in our case here, VinPern is the #1 local hotel chain in Vietnam, with business ranging from hotel, resort to even theme parks, okay? And so having them as our first customer had its pros and cons. The number of features that we have to build and the requirements that we have to do were just insane. But after we did that, you know, we are very confident in the reliability and the scalability of our products. So for them, we are not just another vendor. We have become a trusted advisor, and we will be able to grow with them when they expand.
Okay, fantastic. Eric, this is not really a question that's on the sheet, but I'm kind of just interested in what made you interested in getting into the hospitality software business. Is that something you could share with us? What was your inspiration behind starting VinHMS to begin with?
All right, so that this could take a while, okay? So to be honest, you know, I'm always about building solution and product. And then so more than 5 years ago, I got a chance and to build a solution for this kind of problem. So I was asked to see how I can help, you know, the operation of hotel groups like VinPern. And so I did my research, and I found out that, you know, hospitality is one of the oldest professions in the world, right? And this is like a powerful economic activity. But the lack of technology innovation is a fact, okay? And so I think about 6-7 years ago, there was this essay from a professor, hospitality professor, and he said, Airbnb didn't actually kill the whole hotel industry. It's a lack of innovation. 2019 or so, you know, there were this survey from hospitality.net, which is the #1 forum for all hospitality professional. And they asked like, is hotel technology lacking? And you have all, you know, many exactly coming from Accor, IHG, Marriott, and they came in and they, you know, they agree on that. They say it's all like behind and it's all very fragmented, okay? And so I dug a little bit deeper, and I found out that if you look at the hotel operation, right, at the heart, at the core of it, you have what we call a PMS, a property management system, basically manage all your check-in, check-out, all the room, all the rest, everything. Now, the major PMS were designed or built 20 or 30 years ago, okay? And then so with that, the hotel end up with a very close heart, close core, and many external systems. Integration was always messy. Innovation was small and irrelevant. I give you a few examples. Now, even if you stay at very nice, very fancy hotel, it's very likely that you still need to order your food through phone. The problem with it is because, you know, the core system, the PMS, they don't talk to a lot of like QR menu or a lot of food ordering. So there's no way for them to enter your order into the folio so that the moment you checked out, you know, all the food or all the order are there, so you can pay that. Okay, some new hotel now they have what they call QR menu, but again, it's an independent system. It don't work with PMS. So at the end of the day, they have to type it in. So imagine that versus DoorDash or Uber Eats, right? You pull out your phone, you can order the food from like, I don't know, 100 miles away even. And then, but in hotel, you still need to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, please hold while I route you to the restaurant. Another example, the check-in process. The check-in process is still the same as 100 years ago. You walk in, you provide some kind of ID, and you get some kind of key, right? It could be a wooden key. It could be a card, but it's still a key. But then you look at airline, right? Airline is very high on security, but they allow you to do online check-in or check-in at home. I think it must be more than 10 years ago. Okay, so how come for hotel we still need to walk in and do this ourselves? Or even on payment, right? When you check out a hotel, you have to pay either cash or credit. So no Venmo, no Zelle, or nothing. Okay, and so we look into that. I look into that, and I found a huge opportunity. I think the market is very ready for disruption. And what we build, we are not just another software. Even from the very beginning, we are very clear because all the functionality they are there. Okay, but what customer is asking is, I want to have the new experience. So that's what we did. We want to not just build another software. We want to revolutionize the whole technology foundation that hotel is using. And then after that, they can bring in a new innovation, a new customer experience. And of course, right after that, they can, increase the revenue and reduce the cost. So a few of the success story that we built over the year. First thing is imagine, right, a pre-check-in, a contactless, a complete contactless check-in and check-out process that allows you to just check in at home or in your car. You can drive straight into the villa, go to your room, open the door using your phone, and then order room service, do whatever you want to do. And then when you want to leave, you just pay on the web or on the app. So the whole journey can be touchless or contactless. You can use your face, your key card, your wristband as a way to authenticate yourself. So imagine, right, a hotel guest, you can just walk into a theme park. The theme park would know that you already a hotel guest, and you can, you already have a package to enter the theme park once during the 3 days that you stay at the hotel. Or you can use external service. You can stay at the hotel, but you can go to a souvenir shop 2 miles down the road and buy, and you tell them, hey, why don't you charge back to my hotel? Now that builds trust, right? Because especially for tourist area, the guests, you normally trust your hotel more than the common shop, okay? And also add more revenue to shop and provide more service to a hotel. So long story short, I think we provide a platform for hotel to do innovation, and on top of that, help their business grow. So we're not just another software, and that was the huge opportunity that I saw about 5 years ago, and it is still there. And I'm very excited to have Tan join me to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think you bring up some good points. I was actually just at a hotel recently, and you're right, they only take credit cards and get to pay at the counter. In hindsight, Airbnb, you just pay over the phone. So kind of interesting. And kind of pivoting back to what you're talking about, your company VinHMS and just helping revolutionize these hotels. I noticed, and congratulations to you and your team for the Prince Holding Group MOU out in Cambodia. So what does that agreement actually look like? What are you guys actually providing for Prince Holdings Group, and what do they what is I guess the gist of that deal, if you could shed some light on that? I'm kind of pivoting some questions because a lot of these are financial based, and I feel like best to steer away from that.
And you want to take this? You help me with that deal.
Actually, we can't. That deal is, I can say that, just like what they have stated in the press release, and that's all we're allowed to say at this point, unfortunately.
Okay, got you. So Eric, I guess, is R&D important to your company, and is that something you look to heavily invest in the future to help grow and just improve the software from a general standpoint of how you allocate your capital?
Yes. We look at ourselves as a technology company that operate in hospitality. So the core product is, the software. It's R&D is crucial because especially in the SaaS industry, because customer now always expect new updates, new feature for their subscription. Okay, you do the subscription, and you would want me to have integration with all new products when they come out. Okay, and as again in our case, technologies are our competitive advantage. However, we at the moment, we do not set a fixed percentage of our annual income into R&D because it fluctuates year over year, depends on the market needs and strategy. So I give you an example, right? If we enter a new market, for example, we need to spend the time and the effort on R&D so the solution work best with the market requirement. Now, it's not just like about translate the UI into a language, for example, let's just Thai, for example, Thailand. It's not just about translate the UI from English to Thai, okay? But it's more on about integration with local payment provider, okay? Or, you know, on the process. So imagine if we go to US, we need to integrate with Zelle or Venmo on payment. In Thai, there are different systems. And also on the back-end requirement. In some country, they would require that we, or the hotel, release e-invoice the moment the guest checked out, okay? And so there are many government requirement for that. So yes, the idea is we will focus in R&D, we will invest on R&D, and you know we do that will be our competitive advantage.
Awesome, glad to hear it. Eric, are you aware of the hospitality tech company called Muse? Muse is the leading platform for the new era of hospitality, powers over 3,500 properties across 85 countries around the world. Basically, the whole cloud systems designed to streamline operations for modern hotels and transform the guest experience. What do you think of their tech, if you do know about them? And how would you compare VinHMS to Muse? And do you ever envision VinHMS reaching the level of success that Muse has achieved?
Oh, I know about Muse. I mean, we follow them, and I think they talk to us too. Anyway, they have been growing really fast in Europe thanks to the acquisition strategy. I cannot comment on their tech, but I'm very confident in our ability to compete. Now, here's the thing, right? Our market here, Southeast Asia, with Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, our favorite destination for international tourism. And we'll see really high growth in hospitality in at least 5 to 7 years. However, this region is very fragmented with different countries, different culture. And the customer in this region always expect a higher level of customer service, more personalization, more human touch, because the salary in this region is lower compared to EU or US, okay? And so the good guest experience in the EU may not deliver the same result in Asia. So if you look at us, and I think, you know, our competitive advantage, we were born in this region, and our open platform will not just, again, right, just another software to do the same operational. So with that foundation in hotel, we help hotel deliver exceptional services, but very localized. And I think that would be our biggest competitive advantage. And of course, right, I really, you never know, but we push and we do our best every day to make sure that VinHMS reaching, you know, success.
Awesome. Are you aware of any US-based companies that are doing the same thing, modernizing hotels with software that you are servicing in the Southeast Asian market?
We do see a lot of competitors coming in. However, you know, as I say, because of the fragmented nature of this region, none of them have have any big advantage yet. So I think our opportunities are still there.
Okay, great.
I think the key takeaway here is that you can't just come to the region and try to localize your existing solutions. It has to be a local solution. I think that's what the key takeaway here is.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that insight there. So Eric, what made you pick VMNT Group and Tan to take VinHMS public? Why did you want to list in the US? What do you hope VinHMS can achieve by being acquired by VMNT?
Oh, I was on mute. Yeah, anyway, so after, we build everything from scratch for 2 years and we deploy, we grow in Vietnam. But as I explained earlier, I was always about growing the company or the product to become a minimum a regional company. Otherwise, I really wanted to push even outside of this region. So I was always looking for partner to help us grow. And VMNT and Tan somehow managed to bring in a very unique synergy. Okay, VMNT is all about bringing U.S. capital know-how to Southeast Asia, while we want to tap into the U.S. market for recognition. Another thing about recognition is on hospitality. Right? Hospitality is a very traditional business. A hotel or resort management contract could last from 10 to even 20 years. So hotel owner and the operator, they always want to work with reliable partner, and then so that's why I'm, when I work with Turner, what I want to work for to go to the US is, you being a big public company in US would add tremendous value to our brands, because now we can prove to the customer that we will be with them for a long time. And on a personal note, I respect Tan because I see the same entrepreneurial spirit from him, and as he see from me, and I would really love to work with him.
Great. I'm just going to skip over down to the questions about VMNT lending product. So VMNT had previously agreed to deals with PVCom Bank and Finestra regarding a neobank lending product for SMEs in Vietnam and Southeast Asia. Are there any plans to continue to launch the SME lending platform?
Well, as we have stated in our 10K, the basic and critical components to launch our lending platform are in place. And we're in the process of identifying the right engineering resources to build out the UI UX, and hopefully have that customer ready by September this year.
Okay, great. So this is another question relating to the lending product, but Tan recently said, that's why we're only looking for 500K to $1 million to get this off the ground, about the first financial product tested and pilot. We then circle back to PVCom Bank. This is back in October 2023. Is VinHMS interested in diversifying and has the funding capability or connections to get the pilot off the ground been solidified?
Yeah, I'll take this question. Well, our business model is to be diversified. So we'll continue with that framework. Ultimately, our goal is to meet the required numbers to get uplist to NASDAQ within the next 12 to 18 months. So we'll allocate resources to all revenue generating projects accordingly to reach that goal, including but not limited to the lending program.
Great. So DevBlock was planned to be used to help build out the UI UX of the VMNT lending platform. Will VinHMS be able to build out the UI UX of the lending platform?
Oh, yes, very much so. The current development team of VinHMS is more than capable of building the front end for any platform. Keep in mind that they've done plenty of integration with various payment solutions for the existing hospitality management platform. So there's already fintech knowledge and experience within the team.
Excellent. So Tan, how will you fund the launch of the lending product that is expected to be released in September 2024, according to the 10K?
Oh, the same way we're planning to fund the expansion of VinHMS through a combination of external direct capital investment and internal revenue growth.
Excellent. So Tan, will you be engaging with Finastra again in the future? As you said, they're just waiting for VMNT to launch the platform.
Yes, overall, I mean, Finastra is still a partner, and we're still in communication with them. We're also exploring to see perhaps there's an opportunity in their marketplace for VHMS products as well, since a lot of their clients are pretty much, industry centric.
Fantastic. So does PVCom Bank benefit from VinHMS being a subsidiary of VMNT? If so, how?
Well, definitely, of course, is a possibility, right? Because transaction processed by VinHMS ultimately have to be cleared and settled by a bank somewhere. So there's a possibility of us working with PVCom Bank to develop a more flexible and competitive payment solution for our clients.
Fantastic. Does Vingroup have interest in VMNT's lending platform? Does Vingroup have plans to diversify into the fintech space?
Well, Vingroup is a large conglomerate and a very diversified business group with many different projects and plans. We are working with them very closely on a few projects. However, we can't disclose the details at this point, and at the same time, we can't speak for Vingroup either because they're also a public company themselves.
Gotcha. So these set of questions are really just about management roles, VMNT future outlook and funding. So this is kind of for Eric and Tan, but can you briefly explain Eric and Tan's role within the company? How will you both be able to complement each other?
Well, I'll go first. I mean, as you know, I briefly stated earlier, the idea of Eric and I coming together is so we can converge and take VMNT to the next level. We have discovered that we're very complementary to each other on many fronts, but at the same time, each of us is aware of our own distinctive responsibilities. As you can tell, Eric is already a very strong and established leader in the hospitality and digital transformation space. And as he has mentioned, he's well planted in Southeast Asia when it comes to business and product development. My focus is on more on long-term planning and ensuring that our overall strategy aligns with the company's goals and objectives, with two of those at the top of the list for the next 12 to 18 months. That is to increase shareholder value and prepare us for uplisting to NASDAQ. Basically, I serve as our corporate strategist, providing Eric with advice, insights, analysis, and support to help execute both of our short and long-term plans.
Yeah, I'd be excited. Okay, I would love to do product development and strategic partnership, if regarding for the business. And so exactly like what Tan just said. Okay, he drive corporate development, he increases shareholder, but while I will make sure that our product, our customer keep growing, so where we can we can build a strong foundation for the business to grow.
Okay, great. So Eric, as CEO of VMNT, what are your future plans for VinHMS and VMNT?
Our short term would be growing in Southeast Asia, where we already have a footprint, and down the road, yes, North America, Mexico, Caribbean, we wouldn't say no to a big opportunity. At the moment, we are very focused on hospitality because it's huge and it's a growing industry. Travel will always be a part of our lifestyle, no matter where you are. And so that would be our plan.
Excellent, thank you. Tan, you kind of already answered this question in a way, but as CSO of VMNT, what immediate projects are you taking on?
Well, I can't go into what specific projects I'm working on. Again, my job is clear, right? To work with Eric and other executives like Steve to grow the company operationally and financially, and prepare the company for uplisting. That includes a host of responsibilities, but I would say the key areas I'll pay attention to are number one, mergers and acquisitions. We are already in a very good position to grow organically. However, we also want to accelerate access to additional markets and advance our competitive position. So therefore, I'll be looking for potential M&A opportunities, leading the due diligence process. And of course, I'm also going to evaluate each target closely to make sure there's a good fit and develop integration plans to ensure a smooth transition before we make a move on any one of them. And the other one is about corporate communication to ensure that our employees, stakeholders, and investors understand in alignment with the company's direction. Basically communicating the company's vision, objectives, and progress on both internal and external audiences with better optics and messaging.
Great, thank you for the answer. What will Steve's role be over the next couple of quarters? I see you're still listed as CFO, Steve. It appears you're the one leading the lending platform launch before the VinHMS acquisition. So just kind of curious if you're still leading that. And is Gerard Barry still involved with VMNT at all?
Well, Gerard is one of our consultants, and he is still available to work with us if there's a project that needs his involvement. As for Steve, I don't want to speak too much for him, but of course he is one of our corporate officers and will carry on with CFO duties and responsibilities for VMNT and now also for VinHMS. Steve, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you captured it succinctly.
Okay, great. Thank you. Tan, Eric, are you both able to share what your goals are to achieve this quarter?
Actually, let me answer this question for both of us. Whether is this quarter or next quarter or for the rest of the year, there are no individual goals. It's all about working as a team to accomplish the same goals for the company. Obviously, we have a lot of individual milestones for each department within the company, but from the top looking down, they all about getting us to the same position to drive revenue growth and expand operational footprint to ultimately increase the company's valuation. To quickly expand our regional presence, we'll be focusing on ramping up the local sales team and professional services team in countries where we are getting a lot of traction. And also we'll be sizing up, again, M&A targets to see what we can accomplish this quarter and also for the rest of 2024. As for revenue, we're working on sizable projects in Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, and the Philippines that, if closed, would place our year-over-year revenue growth at more than 50% this year alone. But please consider that as a forward-looking statement, though. Of
course, certainly will. So Tan, this is kind of referencing a tweet you tweeted a couple weeks ago regarding being associated with Vingroup and VHS or VFS, excuse me, and saying how there's a lot of opportunities working with Vingroup and VFS. Are you able to speak to any of those opportunities at all?
Yeah, well, first of all, we do embrace and enjoy being affiliated with Vingroup and in VinFast, directly and indirectly in some ways. It's definitely a plus for us in so many different areas. Currently, we are involved in many hospitality and real estate development projects inside Vietnam and in other countries in the region as well. Many of which, once closed, will elevate our financials tremendously and for many years to come. Unfortunately, until they've been officially announced and disclosed, I'm not able to discuss more at this point. What I can share with you now is that we're seeing an uptick on demand throughout the region for short and long-term homestays, especially for high-end luxury condo units and vacation homes. And we have had several discussions about launching a marketplace as an extension to our existing hospitality management system. I don't have to tell you that's a very positive development because not only does it give us a new revenue stream, but also allows us to expand our product capabilities, which separates us even more from other platforms.
Excellent. Sounds very exciting. Did you include VFS because VMNT is getting to the EV business, or just show another affiliated Vingroup ticker on a U.S. exchange?
Well, the deputy CEO from VinFast is on our board, right?
Oh, yes, that's true. Very cool. All right, so with VMNT acquiring VinHMS, how will VMNT get onto NASDAQ? What milestones need to be reached in order to uplist to NASDAQ? Will at NASDAQ uplist happen within 12 months? Does VMNT still plan to reach NASDAQ without a reverse split?
Wow, that's a fully loaded question.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Well, at this point, we're aiming to meet the financial and liquidity requirements to get listed on NASDAQ in 12 to 18 months. As a company, we have many milestones we want to accomplish in that time frame. as well to reach our financial and operational objectives. And of course, we still intend on getting to NASDAQ without doing a reverse split.
Awesome. That's what we all love to hear. No reverse split. Eric and Tan, is it likely that more of Vingroup subsidiaries will be acquired under VMNT in the future? Would VMNT be open to more acquisitions that will align with the company's goal outside of Vingroup subsidiaries?
I'll go first and let's see if Eric has anything to add. Again, one of the areas I'll focus on is M&A to quickly grow our revenue, valuation, and footprint. That means we'll consider any potential target that aligns with our short and long-term plans. That is our overall corporate strategy, and it doesn't apply just to a particular company, business group, country, or region. But if there is a subsidiary of Vingroup that appears as a suitable target, we'll take a very close look.
Excellent. Is the Alpha Sigma Capital Agreement still going to be in place and put to use for funding needs now that VMNT has acquired VinHMS? What about the previous deal with Network One Financial to raise money for an eventual uplist? Just curious about those previous funding agreements.
Yeah, the agreement with Alpha Sigma is still in place and is one of the financial instruments we can exercise to get funded. However, before we execute on any funding agreement, we're going to make sure it supports our overall P&L plans first. That might lead us to fulfilling our capital requirements through other partners, along with Alpha Sigma, or even without them. As for the agreement with Network One, that has expired already. We're holding new talks with them and with other investment bankers as well.
Okay, great. Tan, is there a reason why the Regulation A was pulled?
Yeah, it's actually quite simple. The amount of work required to amend the offering to include VinHMS would have been the same as doing a new filing. So we decided it would be more efficient and cost effective to do a new one to reflect our new business structure.
Great. Tan, Eric, when do you plan on making the S1 effective? This was, I believe, approved a couple of years ago at this point from the SEC.
I'm not clear which S1 offering this question is pertaining to. I mean, if this is about the existing S1 we have in place with Jefferson Street Capital, yes, that's already in place and still effective.
I guess the question is mainly about when will you actually draw funds from Jefferson Street? Is there a certain...
Okay, so the answer would be the same as the previous one about Alpha Sigma, right? It's one of the financial instruments that we can exercise.
Gotcha. Okay, so I guess when the time is right, that's when you'll...
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So that's why I said that it could be a combination of, when I was talking about to other partners, that's what I was alluding to. I mean, Jefferson Street Capital or Alpha Sigma or a combination of other partners.
Okay, fantastic. So Tan, do you still see a unicorn vision for VMNT? What do you think it'll take to achieve this? Eric, do you have a unicorn vision for VMNT?
Of course, as a corporation, and like any corporation, we have the desire to reach unicorn status as soon as possible, right? But that's not to say it will be a complete failure if we don't get there within a certain time frame. I believe the most important thing for us to realize here is that we have the basic foundational pieces to become a unicorn. That is, we have a proven game-changing platform that has gained serious traction in a very short time and in an industry that's worth trillions of dollars annually. And like Eric said, we already have many exciting projects in the works. I mean, one by one, I believe they'll get us there and not too far in the future.
Excellent. Thank you, Tan. Eric, do you have similar beliefs that Tan does regarding future unicorn?
Oh, I love unicorn. But, there are many exciting opportunities at the moment. And I think, from my point of view, we want to focus our attention in on growing in Southeast Asia and beyond. And so that will be my biggest priority at the moment, right? And I believe if we execute properly, we will bring tremendous value to the shareholder and to the company. And so, I mean, I would, to be honest, right, it'll come when it will come, but, you know, at least, you know, this year or even next year, we'll keep growing.
Excellent. That's great to hear. So these are questions just generally about the macroeconomic conditions, Vietnam and Southeast Asia in general. So how are things on the ground in Vietnam and Southeast Asia regarding VinHMS's sector? Has tourism picked up post-COVID? Are there any lingering weaknesses still because of COVID? And does the strength of the tourism industry help VinHMS?
I take this. Yes, so the whole region has moved up on occupancy, and the hotel rates has also grown up compared to 2023. Now, occupancy still have room to grow to hit the 2019 level, but the rates, the room price is already good. Hotels already making good money. Okay, overall, if you look into the market, utility cost decline, but growing labor cost could be a challenge. And, you know, this is not just Southeast Asia, it happened everywhere after COVID. However, many hotels revenue are at all-time high because people actually pay more. Now, if you look a little bit further out, you know, global operators are doing super well. Accor posts a record 1 billion euro profit for 2023. Marriott break signing grow record in 23. IHG returned $1 billion to shareholder. So on a macro level, everybody is growing back, and Southeast Asia is at the forefront of that growth.
Excellent. Sounds like the place to be right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to add more to that too. I mean, overall, you know, if you look at the data, the Southeast Asian economies stayed very resilient last year. I mean, pretty much all the economies, you know, showed strong performance in the fourth quarter. I mean, and GDP grew in all countries, you know, with increasing growth in Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam during this period. I mean, Vietnam in particular achieved consistent growth in each quarter of 23, and in the fourth quarter was the best performing economy in the region. I mean, at 6.7%. And that has a lot to do with, you know, strong domestic demand, a stable employment market, and along with continued recovery of the services sector, particularly tourism. So yes, the industry has picked up post-COVID, and the outlook is very good for VinHMS.
Fantastic. So how are things on the ground in Vietnam and Southeast Asia regarding SME credit demand? Has there been an increase or decrease in demand for loans? Is manufacturing, exporting, particularly to the US and Europe, picking up?
Yeah, I mean, as mentioned earlier, right, the majority of the countries in Southeast Asia did very well in the fourth quarter of last year. For Vietnam, increase in domestic consumption, recovering exports, direct foreign investment, and most importantly, for our company, an uptick in international tourism are expected to be key economic drivers for the country in 2024. The recovery in the global semiconductor sector and increase in the demand for computers and smartphones are driving up Vietnam's production. Also, at the same time, as multinational companies continue to diversify their supply chains and advance their China Plus One strategy, Vietnam can build on this momentum. So yes, both manufacturing and exporting are picking up, and we do expect to see stronger credit demand from the SMEs, especially in the second half of this year.
Fantastic. Eric, I know you're running out of time, so we're going to try to go through some of these quickly. How do you see VMNT benefiting from this comprehensive strategic partnership agreement between Vietnam and the US?
I'll go first, and Eric, you want to go first? Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, all right. I'll be quick. You know, the fact that we are here talking about VMNT already shows that there are benefits for technology companies with Vietnam or Asia, Southeast Asia roots growing in the US. But to be specific, right, the agreement validates the Vietnam status as one of the world's fastest growing economies, and U.S. investors would now have more confidence in this partnership. Go ahead, Tan.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I believe the comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries can promote deeper cooperation across multiple sectors. But I believe the three areas that can benefit VMNT in the short term are in increasing trade, leading to more short-term credit demand from sellers in Vietnam to U.S. buyers, technology transfer and exchanges with collaboration in research and development, leading to mutual advancements in technology, which is the sector that we're in, and cultural exchanges through the promotion of tourism programs, encouraging greater travel between the two countries. But at the end of the day, and we have stated this many times before, as a company, we see VMNT as a conduit for U.S. investors to participate in opportunities for Vietnam and Southeast Asia, and for companies in the region to gain access to U.S. markets. So in that sense, there are many more ways we as a company can benefit long-term from this strong and growing alliance between the two countries.
Excellent. Yeah, you know, it certainly seems like you talked about this many times before in the past, Tan, but the move from China looks like Vietnam is the biggest beneficiary from that.
We've been saying that, right?
Yeah, as long as I can remember. So given the Vietnam government's crackdown on corruption and the high turnover at the present position, how stability in the country, a high-profile business executive was recently sentenced to death due to fraud convictions. Will businesses be negatively or positively impacted by what is going on in the country?
I'll take this one. Well, if we look more into the future of Vietnam and pay less attention to the rhetoric from the media, in my opinion, all the recent activities are positive news. And part of the structural reforms carried out by the government to introduce more transparency and accountability, which will have a more positive impact in the long run for the country. And here's why I feel that way. You know, even though the diplomatic relationship between the U.S. and Vietnam has now been elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership, the country is still on the list of 12 nations identified by the U.S. as non-market economies, which also includes China and Russia. The good news is the Department of Commerce is now in the process of considering removing Vietnam from that list, and with the decision expected to be by late July this year. Getting market economy status would be another major upgrade in diplomatic relations between the two countries, and frankly, that needs to happen, and I strongly believe it will happen, as Vietnam is too important to the U.S. economically in terms of trade and investment. At this point, I mean, the U.S. is Vietnam's most important export partner, with more than $125 billion in total trade in 2023. And we simply cannot look to Vietnam for supply chain diversification out of China for U.S. companies if it doesn't have market economy status. From a geopolitical standpoint, Vietnam has essentially become one of U.S. best friends in Asia and Southeast Asia. So I believe the U.S. government would do what makes sense naturally, and Vietnam simply is implementing changes in anticipation of receiving that status, and of course in preparation for an influx of more U.S. companies entering Vietnam.
Fantastic. Yeah, I would have to say I agree, and I think that's why a lot of us are invested in VMNT to begin with. So Eric, I know you have to jump soon. I just had two final questions for you. One being, will you continue to have shareholder meetings like this in the future, as Tan has had in the past, and under your new tenure as CEO?
I think actually Eric has another 30 minutes, right, Eric?
Yeah, I have another 30 minutes.
Oh, okay, great.
I love this. Please continue.
Okay, yeah, we'll just continue scheduled as questions are listed then. So the US dollar has hit a new high when valued against the Vietnamese dong. How will this help hurt businesses that are dependent on foreign tourism or exporting to the US? Then I got to throw this one in there, Tan. Would a USD-backed stablecoin assist businesses, individuals when doing foreign transactions or payments?
Okay, so let me answer the second question first. As we have said many times, no matter how great the potential benefits, we're not going to resume the stablecoin project until a legal framework has been defined by the SEC and other authorities. Now, as for the first question, the strong USD is having an impact on many currencies, not just the VND. A lot of the central banks are struggling to deal with this. And many Asian countries have seen even bigger swings. Like, for example, the South Korean won is down like 6.1% so far this year. The Malaysian ringgit reached like a 26-year low, and the Indian rupee reached like an all-time low despite strong domestic growth. The good news is the VND has remained stable against the other major currencies, such as the Japanese yen, the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, the euro, and the British pound. Now, for us Americans, because the purchasing power, the dollar is higher, consumption will remain strong because imports are simply cheaper and people will likely travel overseas more. Both of those two factors will have positive implications for business in Vietnam that are dependent on foreign tourism and exporting to the U.S. Now, first, the impact on tourism. Right? A stronger USD makes travel to Vietnam less expensive for U.S. visitors. So businesses in the tourism sector, such as hotels, restaurants, tour operators, and even souvenir shops, might experience an increase in visitor numbers and spending. Second, for businesses exporting to the U.S., a stronger USD makes Vietnamese exports less expensive for U.S. consumers, potentially increasing demand for Vietnamese products in the U.S. This will have a direct and positive impact on companies involved in exporting goods such as textiles, electronics, footwear, and agricultural products. Overall, I don't see those two sectors being negatively impacted by the strong USD. If anything, they will help reinforce the relationship between the U.S. and Vietnam even more.
I guess in that vein, then, though, is there any risk that the U.S. would mark Vietnam as a currency manipulator, or do you think that's not a real risk?
Well, a risk is always could also be a real risk, right? But I don't see that, anytime soon.
Okay, great. So here's a question from some of the shareholders. They're not listed, but I think they're relevant, and they're not asking to disclose any financial or anything like that. How do the laws on direct foreign investment laws differ in Vietnam and China? How would that be a tailwind or headwind on VinHMS and VMNT as a whole? How does the U.S. listing help to bring funding to VMNT? Are there any tax implications that VMNT has to factor for inflow of funds from USA to Vietnam?
Well, first of all, VinHMS is now part of VMNT, and VMNT is a U.S. company. So any kind of intercompany transfers, financial transfers, is still considered, U.S. based. Of course, there are some local regulations we have to consider, but I'll let Steve answer this one.
Yeah, we do handle this, primarily as a U.S. corporation. We do have a subsidiary in Vietnam. Moving money between our subsidiaries and investing into our subsidiaries happens just as it does in any other country around the world. In Vietnam, there are particular regulations that you have to go through. They're actually well defined in terms of how you can invest money into Vietnam and through which mechanism that you can, whether it's through debt or equity. We can do that through, directly from the U.S., or we can do it directly, through our subsidiary in Singapore, which makes it very, very easy to do. Because Singapore is part of the ASEAN trading bloc, of which they have clear rules in terms of how capital moves. And there are certain advantages for us to be able to do it, through our Singapore entity, if we decide to put money directly into Vietnam. But part of the reason for structuring things the way that we have, particularly by doing it through Singapore, is it gives us great access to the region in terms of moving funds. And it also gives us great access to the region in terms of most of the countries in this area are very keen and very much understand the Singapore legal structures that allow for investment throughout the region. And it's through those avenues that we manage the investments that we would do, not only into VinHMS as it grows throughout the region, but if there was anything else that we would do.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Are you guys aware of any investment funds opening shop in Vietnam? There's one by Carson Block of Muddy Waters that looks to be opening up. Is this something that you guys look to tap into to raise capital? Just kind of want to hear your thoughts on that.
Let me take this. So, Vietnam is a growing market, and there's many investment fund and PE coming to Vietnam every week. Okay, and then being again, as I say, this is not my first rodeo, and so we keep in touch with all VC and PE and open for any collaboration opportunity. But I think what Steve just said it makes a lot of sense. So this region, right, it's very diversified, but with Singapore as a core, we have an opportunity to tap into not just Vietnam, but Singaporean, Malaysian, Thailand, many investment fund, and for not just for Vietnam but also for the region.
Okay, great. So these are some questions just regarding investor relations. Could you provide clarity on who shareholders should now contact with their inquiries? Additionally, does the company plan to appoint a professional investor relations person to facilitate communication and address shareholder concerns?
Yeah, you can email us at IR, IR@VMNT.com, or you can call us at our main telephone number, leave a message for us. And yes, we're in the process of selecting a professional IR company to facilitate communication with our shareholders.
All right, fantastic. How do you plan on increasing liquidity with the stock? Currently, buying and selling shares of VMNT can be difficult to do, and thus it discourages others from investing.
Well, the best way to address this is to make the investment community take notice of what we're doing. Now that the transaction with VinHMS has been completed, and with many positive developments in the works, like we have talked about, we expect to be a bit more active on creating awareness about VMNT in the coming weeks. And I've actually discussed this with Eric, and we are finalizing our plans.
Excellent. Will VinHMS CEO, so I guess the CEO of VMNT, Eric, get a Twitter handle, or will you guys keep using the VMNT handle on Twitter, share news and messages? Eric, just a little heads up, I know it's not your first rodeo, but we all love Twitter. So curious to know if you're going to get on the platform or not.
No, I've been using Twitter since 2009, but I just did not post a lot. But anyway, I mean, this is my job now. I will try to engage shareholder more in the future, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we all like to engage with our shareholders as well as the investment community. I mean, I personally enjoy, sharing industry news and anything related to what we're doing. But however, please keep in mind that we can't or share or release anything material on Twitter until it's been disclosed to the SEC.
Totally. So actually just went on the website today and noticed it was back on. It appeared to have been down last week when I checked. Just a heads up, Cambodia is misspelled on the website, so you may want to check that out. But
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a new one soon. I mean, what you see now is just a temporary landing page just to reflect our structure as a company. But we'll there's a new one coming soon. We'll take a look at the misspelling.
Okay, great. Will the company in the future continue its previous practice to pay consultant fees via issue of common shares?
Well, basically we'll do what makes the most sense financially for the company. However, we do like the current common stock structure, so we'll be very mindful about doing new issuances.
Okay, great. Thank you. Can you explain the relationship between Asian Star, Vingroup, and VMNT? How does Asian Star having significant ownership and voting rights help VMNT?
Well, Asian Star was the biggest shareholder of VinHMS prior to its acquisition by VMNT. They are now the biggest shareholder of VMNT. It's no secret, Mr. Pham, the founder and chairman of Vingroup, is the ultimate beneficial owner of Asian Star. It's already part of our SEC filings and disclosure. Like any prominent and major shareholder of any corporation, Asian Star can provide a wide range of tangible and intangible benefits, such as access to networks and resources that could certainly add to our company's long-term growth.
Okay, great. And yeah, I guess my understanding of it is Asian Star is effectively Vingroup in that, I guess the fact that it's listed in Singapore and headquartered there, it allows for this easier flow through of capital and shares, kind of what you guys were describing before about the flow of money from the
I think you can connect the dots without acknowledgement from us, right?
Yep.
Jimmy?
Okay. Sounds good. We'll keep it at that then.
Okay.
So I don't want to mispronounce the new board member's name, but what will be the role of Trin Tuyet Mai Lee as a board member of VMNT? Do you expect to see the board add members in the near future or in the future in general?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I mean, yes, we'll be looking to add more board members, especially independent ones, as we prepare ourselves for NASDAQ listing. As for Ms. Lei, I mean, without a doubt, I mean, she is an extremely seasoned senior executive. Her resume speaks for itself. Having a board member with her caliber can offer unlimited benefits to the company. I mean, I'll just name a few of them. I mean, she can provide us with guidance and insight into emerging technologies, market trends, and industry best practices. I mean, with her deep understanding of IT systems, cybersecurity, and data protection, she can assist us in identifying and mitigating potential risks related to security breaches, compliance issues, etc. She can provide, valuable input to our R&D efforts. I'm certain her knowledge of emerging technologies can help identifying new opportunities for us in terms of product development and competitive differentiation. Also, she can draw from her network to assist us in recruiting top-notch talent for critical positions within the company. And additional, she can provide guidance to nurture and develop our internal IT talent pool. I mean, I can go on and on. Basically, a board member like Ms. Lei can play a very important role in guiding the company and ultimately contributing to its long-term shareholder value in more than one way.
Yes, I can speak for all shareholders when I say we're all very excited to have her on the board and excited to see how her tenure goes. So, question for Tan and Eric: have you either of you met Mr. Vu Ong? And would you say you have like a personal relationship with him or purely professional? Just kind of curious if you guys actually met the chairman of Vin Group.
I did.
I have
Well,
not, but Eric has. Certainly.
yes, yes. I met with him, but it's purely professional.
Gotcha. Okay, great. So are you aware of any large short positions in VMNT? If so, how do you plan to address and combat the shorting?
Well, I assume this question is about naked short selling, right? I mean, first and foremost, I mean, as much as we dislike that practice, the SEC has noted on their website that naked short selling is not necessarily a violation of the federal securities laws unless it's done intentionally to manipulate the market. And they even say that if a stock is appearing on the Reg SHO threshold list, it does not mean that that's a sign of illegal trading activity either. So until it's made completely and outright illegal, short selling is not something we can control. I mean, no, we're not aware of large, short positions in the VMNT, but there are service providers we can work with to get such data. I mean, ultimately, and as a company, we're focusing on what we believe is already the best counter strategy. That is to keep growing the fundamentals of our business.
Okay, great. Thank you. Are there any, how do I phrase this, legacy shareholders that we may have had calls with in the past still involved or still owning stock in the company, or are you unsure of that?
There are a lot of legacy shareholders that we're still in communication with. Yes.
Okay, great. Here's a question just for fun, but can investors get a preferred rate at a Vin Group property for our shareholder meetup for when VMNT hits NASDAQ?
I don't know, Eric, you want to take this one, Eric?
Oh, well, I guess we'll try to accommodate, our shareholder the best as we could. And I would love for shareholder to one day come to Vietnam and enjoy it, the beautiful property of our customers.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know if there's such a thing as a preferred rate for a Vin Group property, but we're more than happy to connect you to the sales team at VinHomes.
Any recommended properties?
Many.
Many, but most of all, I would steer you to the ones that are actually operating on top of our platform.
Touche. Yes, we will only stay at those properties. There's no
Right.
question about that. Well, I don't really have any other questions, really. I think you've answered everything we asked. Just want to, again, thank you both thank you all, Ernie, Steve, Eric, and Tan, for taking the time out of your day to inform us of what's going on with the company, answer our questions, and provide us with some insights. I speak for everyone when I say we really appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thank you, Jimmy. I want to extend my, please allow me a few seconds to do sort of my closing statement, and I'll let Eric, finish it. I mean, I want to extend my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you for your unwavering support and dedication to our company. A recent acquisition of VinHMS marks a significant milestone and a testament to our commitment to growth and innovation. Your belief and our vision has been the driving force behind our success, and I am deeply proud to share this accomplishment with you. As we look for ahead, we have a long list of positive developments on the horizon, with many promising and exciting opportunities for our company. With your continued support and trust, I am confident that we will get to where we want to go. But I would also like to take this opportunity to express my full confidence in our new CEO, Eric, whose leadership and vision will no doubt propel us to new levels. I sincerely ask you to give Eric your full support as we continue this journey together. And once again, thank you.
Thank you, Tan. Thank you, James. And again, right, thank you everyone for supporting us. And as I said once, and I will say it again, I appreciate your support for Tan, and I hope that I have a chance to earn your trust in the upcoming weeks and months. And you know, I think about half an hour ago, James said that there's a question about whether we want to do this thing frequently. And yes, this is something I really want to do because I believe in transparency. I believe in sharing our vision with the shareholder, and so that, you know, maybe, you know, there's up, there's down, but we stick to our vision. So yes, I intend to do this, you know, kind of sharing and meeting frequently as time permits, and I would really hope to continue have your support in the future. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you all, and hope everyone has a great week.
Mhm.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.